to Explorers Uncovered, the show where we bring history's greatest voyagers into the present. I'm your host, and today we have an extraordinary guest, Jacques Cartier, the French navigator whose voyages in the 1500s gave France its first foothold in North America. Cartier wasn't just chasing maps and rivers. His journey shaped the destiny of Canada. Monsieur Cartier, bienvenue. Tell us about your beginnings. Who were you before these grand voyages?
I was born in 1491 in the port town of St. Malo in Brittany. The sea was our life. Our walls literally faced the ocean. My father was a mariner, and I grew up watching the ships leave for Spain, Portugal, and beyond. From a young age, I learned navigation, reading the stars, and charting coastlines. By the time I was 20, I was sailing regularly along the coast of Europe. Later, I married Catherine Negranges, the daughter of a wealthy ship owner in St. Malo. That marriage gave me important connections. I wasn't a nobleman, but through her family, I gained access to powerful circles in France. That's how I eventually caught the eye of King Francis I.
So Francis first selected you for this mission. What did you want to do?
He wanted me to find the Northwestern Passage, a shortcut to Asia through North America. Spain was getting riches from Columbus and Mexico, Portugal was controlling the spice trade through Africa, France was falling behind, and Francis I wanted glory, land, and wealth for the crown. I was his navigator to achieve that.
Your first voyage in 1534. What happened?
I left St. Malo with two ships and 61 men. We crossed the Atlantic Ocean in only 20 days, which was relatively fast at the time. We explored newly found land, sailed through the Gulf of St. Lawrence, and even planted a giant cross on the Gapse Peninsula, claiming the land for France. That was my first encounter with the Iroquois people, peaceful at first, but tense when they realized what the cross meant.
And what about your second voyage?
That was in 1535. This time I had sailed with three ships and more than 100 men. I sailed up the St. Lawrence River itself, reaching Seneconda, Senecona, modern day Quebec City, and later Hochelaga, which is now Montreal. These were thriving indigenous villages. They amazed us with their size and organization. But winter was brutal. Ice trapped our ships in the river, scurvy spread, and we were near death. We only survived because the local people taught us to brew a tea from tree bark rich in vitamin C. Without them, none of us would have returned.
And yet you went back again in 1541.
Yes, for a third voyage, this time we tried to permanently settle near Quebec. We built a fort, but conditions were miserable. We were miserable. Supplies failed, the Iroquois people were openly hostile, and the stones we thought were precious, such as gold and diamonds, turned out to be worthless quartz and pyrite. After 2 years, the colony collapsed. That was the end of my expedition.
Okay. And yet history remembers you. Why?
Because I gave France a claim in North America. I mapped the St. Lawrence River in detail, a pathway that later led explorers like Samuel de Champlain to build New France, and I named the region Canada, a misunderstanding of the word Kanata, which meant village, but which I applied to the whole nation. That mistake ended up naming to the whole territory. Sorry, that making which ended up naming the entire nation. Oops.
For the entrance of our special guest, now let's bring the man behind the voyages, King Francis I of France.
Merci. A king must think beyond borders. When I saw Spain growing rich from the Americas and Portugal dominating the spice trade, I knew France could not stay idle. We needed our own claim. I chose Cartier because he was skilled, ambitious, loyal, perfect for the task. Mm-hmm.
Your Majesty, what did you hope to gain with these expeditions?
Oh.
I wanted a northwest passage to Asia. Failing that, I wanted land territory that would bring wealth, prestige to France. Cartier gave me both a claim to the New World maps, and future explorers built upon.
Jacques, what was your relationship with King Francis like?
Well, I owed him everything. He gave me ships, crew, and a chance to explore. But there was pressure. He expected riches. When I returned with worthless stones, I felt like I had failed him. Still, he recognized the value of maps, of knowledge, even without gold.
It is true, Jacques, you did not bring me gold, but you gave France something more lasting, Canada. That claim would endure for centuries. Without your voyages, there would be no new France.
It sounds like a partnership built on ambition and tested by disappointment, but ultimately remembers for its legacy.
Precisely. Oui.
Now, onto the wrap up of this podcast episode. Before we close out, though, one last question to each of you. Jacques, what do you want to see as your. No. Jacques, what do you see as your true legacy?
Well, my legacy is discovery through persistence. I faced storms, scurvy, and failure, but still brought back maps, names, and a knowledge that shaped history. Even mistakes like misnaming Canada became permanent.
And Your Majesty?
Mon vision, my legacy is vision. I believe exploration was power. I gave France its place on the map of the New World. Cartier may not have found Asia, but he found us Canada. And in that, France found an empire.
Merci,
Merci beaucoup.
Merci,
Oh la la.
King Francis I. And merci to our audience. Today we've seen how an ambitious sailor from St. Malo, backed by a visionary king, set into motion the story of Canada. This has been Explorers Uncovered. Until next time, au revoir.
Au revoir, bisous.
Doing the things that I never would know. Treat me like what's